So I sat down to play Runebound last night. And certainly this is nothing out of the ordinary. Runebound 2nd edition, 3rd edition also. But 2nd edition is one of my favorite board games to play, both with a group, but also solo. Now we're talking about Fantasy Flight, which is known for their bloat of tokens and expansions, but sitting down to play Runebound Core. The footprint is quite small. It's elegant. It plays. It works. And even when I step back from the history and the memories I have playing this game, the core experience is such that I feel satisfied. I feel like I can dip into this numerous times and really get that experience. Now, I was comparing that with other titles that I have in my collection that I enjoy playing. Dark Souls, Massive Darkness, Zombicide Invader / Black Plague. The only reason I haven't jumped into Modern is a good friend of mine who's an excellent, amazing painter, has a complete Modern set painted. So anytime I feel the need to play Modern, of course I'm going to go play with his set and enjoy that. But one of these days, to complete the collection, being a completionist, I'll jump in on Modern. But this got me to thinking where we've seen this trend, or I should say, have we? Have we seen this trend accelerate in the board gaming community and how board games have kind of deployed? I really look at Kickstarter and say to myself, Kickstarter has been the one to drive this over the years. And it makes sense. And I want it to be successful. The more successful board games are, the more that are brought to market, the different titles that we can enjoy. But this idea that it is no longer just a Fantasy Flight model of core, and then small expansions, big expansions that are going to roll out over 2 or 3 or 4 Descent 2nd edition, 5, 6, 7 years in the life cycle. It's everything at once. It's everything at once. So core, small expansion, big expansion, season 1, season 2, upgrade pack 1, upgrade pack 2. And all of a sudden you're jumping in for $200 or $300 core to 5, 6, 7 tainted, $800. Warhammer 40K players are like, that's like 3 boxes of infantry and a tank and a set of dice. Like, what are you talking about, right? But it is a significant amount of resources given how board games have traditionally operated. So I've noticed this acceleration. Also what I've noticed, and of course, the FOMO. You either get in now or you don't get in at all. What do? Can you afford to take that risk to wait for retail? And even if you wait for retail, is it going to be available in a timely manner? I mean, there's a lot of questions with there, right? A lot of FOMO anxiety, and that's the push for it. But what I've also noticed is this acceleration of, let's just be honest, taking a core experience, the core box, and almost making it like a starter set, almost making it crippleware, where normally it'd give you 6 characters, we're giving you 2. You want the other ones? Buy the X pack. We're giving you, instead of 2 missions to play or 2 storylines, we're giving you 1. Buy the X pack. Of course, to bolt onto that, buy season 1, buy season 2. It's almost like the core is cripple. Rather than having 10 different monster types, we're giving you 3. Go with the monster X pack 1, X pack 2. To the point where you have to jump in. Now, bringing some of these titles to the table, it's a lot. I mean, we're not even talking about organizers and kind of pushing that piece out and correct organizing or optimizing. We're just talking like 15, 20 boxes, literally. Okay, how many boxes? Let me think about this. Dark Souls core, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 or 8 boxes to the table. And I love Dark Souls, absolutely. But it's a lot to potentially bring to the table. It's not just something that you casually deploy at the club. You've got to prepare that drop ship to get it there. So we see these games that they're evolving out beyond board games, almost to like systems of a sort, if we can think in that manner. So it's very, very interesting with how that plays out. Now this kind of takes us to the topic here of the vlog, kind of narrating that framework. Where are the elegant and simple board games? Where is that experience? I go back to this idea of, I could play a role-playing game. I could play a war game. Or I think I go back to this experience. This is a better analogy, organizing my thoughts. Being a war gamer, playing with miniatures, playing with tables, playing with terrain, the allure of having a smaller size board game, the classic Avalon Hill on a hex map. It's portable, it plays fast, it sets up, it goes away. This idea of playing Dungeons and Dragons and RPG games, not so much setup, because we don't need to play with the miniatures, even though I do. We don't need to play with the magical effects in the Dwarven Forge, even though I do. We can go old school, 3 books, some dice, pen, and paper. It's all in the mind. But from that perspective, there's a lot of prep time. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of investment. I can pull out my RPG board game, set it up, get that taste, and put it away and be done. So from that perspective, this idea of board gaming being its own unique compartment of an experience, in and out, have some fun, it's now evolved into something really massive. And I'm not saying that's bad. The question is there a market anymore for a kind of one and done, here's just the core box, it's got everything you need to play, it's nice and compact, it's a wonderful experience. I mean, Gloomhaven does that, true. Gloomy does that, and I love Gloomy. But, I mean, Gloomy's you drop Gloomy, like, don't drop it on your foot. Right? From that perspective, Gloomhaven does fill that, and it's the complexity of it. But that would be a good example. More games like Gloomhaven that offer you, and yes, Gloomhaven does have an expansion, but it's not necessary. What games are out there, and is there a market out there for that? Or has Kickstarter now permanently altered the play model?